Hello everyone, welcome back to another Tomato Sauce stream. Today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I wanted to basically, this is something I've been thinking about quite a lot, which is like, what decks are people quite happy with? What decks do people like not like? And kind of a, like a based to like cringe spectrum, I suppose. And I want to get everyone's opinion on where they think different decks in both formats land. Now for me, it's quite simple-ish, like especially I think speed is a lot easier, and that's because in my mind, if you're a floodgate deck, you are pretty cringe. That's just how I kind of look at it. The only time that floodgates ever feel anything other than cringe is basically when they are used very deliberately to stop like a tier 0 or like super cancer deck. And if it's not like exactly that, I'm like, floodgates, I'm not a fan. I know some people really do like floodgates. I know we do have a lot of flu players that like to drop in. But overall, I do think floodgates are pretty bad. For Rush, I think it gets a little bit more complicated because there are a lot of nuances, right? There are some decks that like, oh, I like this because, but I don't like this because, right? And I think a lot of people are going to have their own opinions on what they like and don't like. It's not quite as easy as floodgate bad. Now, there is floodgate. Right? There are two floodgates that are currently seeing play, both very rogue decks, but there are still two floodgates that are seeing a lot of play at the moment in Rush. That being said, they are there specifically to try and counter the top two decks, so it's kind of in that grey area of like, is this okay? I kind of still think no. I still think floodgates kind of always cringe. I think if you ever have a blanket effect that just says you're not allowed to play the game, I don't think that's ever really healthy, even if it's like a quote-unquote necessary evil. But I want to go through this. I want to know what decks you guys think are really, really cool decks. Which decks are like... Because again, a deck can be cool for any number of reasons, right? It could be an archetype you like. It could be like an anime character's deck that you really vibe with. It could just be the gameplay loop is really, really fun. And typically as well, the higher a tiered deck is, the more cringe it becomes. That's generally how this works. Because people get very bored of those decks and they're like, oh, you're only playing that because it's really, really strong, etc., etc. But before we get into that, we will also go over just, you know, the general news of the week. We got some couple of different meta updates. We've had a couple of interesting developments, and we have had some new OCG Rush cards announced, so we're going to go through them. But before that, let's see who we have in the chat. We have Gunkin Suship Shari. Hello, hello. Welcome on in, my friend. We have Pro Manicus. Manicus is actually here at the start of the stream. Manicus, typically, I think you've been busy with work a lot of the time, so you have not been here at the start of the streams typically, but welcome on in. We have Zaki Boys. I miss Tomato Headman. I mean, we have the Streamlabs thing. I don't know if I can actually throw it up right now. Oh, I'd have to be in a chat. So I could do it. There you go. Let's throw it up so you can see it. Look, there it is. Look, it's me. It's right over my current head. Oh, amazing. I know, it's crazy. But anyway. We have oof phrasing. I mean, there is that. We have Monosync in the chat. Hello, Mono. Do an exclamation mark Mono in the chat. I did manage to catch a lot of the stream yesterday, Mono. I really wanted to take part. I really, really did. But unfortunately, I could not. I had other engagements that I was otherwise preoccupied with, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. It is what it is. We have Beam. Hello, Beam. Welcome on in. And so without further ado, I think we're going to jump in and start kind of going over the new stuff. We're going to go over like the news, the Yap stuff. What will you climb with? So my current decks are Dinosaurs and Dragon Slot. And I kind of want to play like the Rebecca Dragon deck a bit more. Now, I know some people really don't like the deck. I know there are some like absolute haters of that deck. But I think the deck, when not being used to like FTK or like Zone Lock or any of the other bullshit, is like a really, really fun deck. So I'm probably going to be playing that. But let's take a look. First things first, we did have a KCC tier list update. We'll quickly go over this. I know a lot of people aren't big speed players that come and watch the stream, but we'll go over this regardless because I'm always quite interested. We have Blue Eyes and Shooter Bird. I mean, no changes, right? These are the two best decks. Everyone knows these are the two best decks. I haven't played a lot against either of these decks. So when we do play and we grind the KCCUP ladder, we're probably going to get absolutely donked on by these decks, but we'll see how it goes. This is the deck that we have, which is Dragons, which I personally think is a pretty cool deck. And then the interesting one here was Dark Magician showing up. And now we've got Valance being bumped up to tier 3 as well. I also do not know how Valance plays at all. Like, I literally have no idea how this deck performs, what its game plan is, so we're probably going to get absolutely bodied by this deck as well. And then the decks that have come off the list, Flu, Libromancer, Rocket, and Shadow. Seeing Shadow come off the list is kind of crazy to me. It's actually kind of crazy. Like, in my mind, like, Winder Turbo should always be good, but I guess that's just not always the case. And in some cases, you can just, like, break it quite easily. And then there's Chimera, which is just down here, which is, like, I don't know. So it's not off the list, but it is off the list. It's just kind of in its own zone here. I personally think Chimera is one of the strongest decks in this meta, and I expect to do very well at the upcoming KC Cup. Going first is simply the strongest deck in the game at the moment. Okay, I mean, you know, world champion saying that. It's gotta be something, right? So next up, we'll take a look at Bismuth's meta snapshot, because Bismuth does these every single week, and we can see that, you know, unsurprisingly, we do have Blue Eyes and Shinobird at the top. Although one thing we do think is a little bit interesting is it was Blue Eyes that was dominating, but now it seems to be Shinobird. I don't know if that's like people have adjusted or people have like learned how to play Shinobird a little bit better, or maybe because Blue Eyes is always a popular deck, right? Even in tournament play, Blue Eyes is generally always sees play. So like there's nothing too crazy about seeing Blue Eyes here. Shinobird is like, it's like super free to play friendly. I don't know the exact builds that people have been on, so like maybe there are some cards in there that are like really hard to get hold of, but other than that. Then Dark Magician's showing up and is actually doing better than Chimera. And this is actually quite interesting because Chimera, you know, like we say, isn't on the tier list right now. It's kind of in its own little section. But it's been performing. It's got the numbers to back it up, right? Then, is this Dark Fluid? That is Dark Fluid, right? Am I tripping? The issue is I don't know all the cards by, like, the image. And based on the fact I don't see... Oh, there we go. Dark Fluid. Yeah, so it is Dark Fluid. So we've got Dark Fluid. I forget who you are. I'm sure I went over this before, and I was like, I don't know who that is, and someone pointed it out. And then I learned who it was, and I've again now forgotten who that is. I don't see any decks down here. I don't know who this is. Obviously, this is Dinos. This is the Dragon deck, which down here, I believe, is under Guardian Angel. We have Flu. Then we have Sword Soul doing okay, and then Utopia still around. Utopia will never go away. She's Valance? Oh, she's Valance. It's because most of the time I see Valance, it's this guy. Not that guy. It's this guy. This guy is usually the card that's used. Where is he? Mamanaka the Valance United. This is usually the guy that, when I see this guy, I'm like, okay, that's Valance. So she is Shinoname the Valance. The issue is, I haven't, like, read any Valance cards, so I am probably going to be, like, really... I'm going to be in a really bad spot when it comes to playing against this deck. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Jane Valance herself. I see. Jane board game. I see. Well, you know, it's interesting that we're having that. And it's nice to see Dinos is here. And then obviously we have all the different decks down here that people have been playing with. But for Rush, it's looking a little bit more dire. So for this week, only 2 tournaments were recorded. Well, I guess this was last week. But when was Rush Duel 45? That was... I guess this one should be 45. This one should be 44. I thought this got updated, but I guess it didn't. No, that's not how you write 44. So... weekly... Okay, so there wasn't a Now Cup that was between. Well, there was, but I think it was one that had less than 16 players. I don't know how Bismuth does his cutoff. But, regardless, he hasn't got this Now Cup. But because this was posted on Sunday, that does make sense. I don't know if his last week's one had specifically the Now Cup included or not. Because I think that was the one that he won. But, regardless, we did see, what, Join Tech, Music Princess, Join Tech, and then Music Princess, Join Tech, Music Princess, Metarian. So, again, nothing too shocking, right? If we take a look at the data overall, we can see that even though yesterday on the Discord I did post that Join Tech was no longer best deck, Join Tech has now become best deck once again. Because we did have, before Music Princess kind of overtook with this, the Now Cup Rush Duel 8, which did have 2 Music Princess in the final. But in this tournament, there was only 1 Join Tech that signed up. So it's a 16-player tournament, which is the bare minimum that we allowed to be on the spreadsheet. 1 Join Tech player signed up. Look at how many Music Princess ended up in Top Cut, right? Music Princess, then top 8, 3 more Music Princess, which is kind of nuts. Whereas, if we invert this and go to a Western tournament, it's Join Tech, Music Princess, And then there's 2 more Music Princess down here. It just goes to show, like, how many players just kind of stand Jointech in the Western scene compared to the Eastern scene, right? But it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Unfortunately, we are still kind of stuck in this, like, 2-deck meta. Now, again, Matarian is trying its best, and Sevens Road has won a tournament, but... Yeah, 2-deck meta. It's realistically a 2-deck meta, right? Damn, I should join Japanese tournament with Jointech next time. I mean, maybe you should. Like, you might do really, really well, right? It's wild to me that these 2 decks are so overly dominant. Especially considering the last format we had. Mind you, it's not too surprising Jointech's performing well, right? Because, like, if we go and look at tournament wins, like, specifically, Jointech is double Music Princesses. But, like, when you're looking at just, like, overall tournament wins, it's not... I don't think it paints as big of a picture, as good of a picture. Because, like, there's a lot of variance in the game, right? So, if you get a coin flip the right number of times, if you draw a really good hand more often than not, you could, like, end up winning when you shouldn't have, or you don't end up winning when you maybe should have, and it's, you know, should have. But regardless, it is very interesting. It's a very interesting state that we find the meta in right now, specifically for Rush. But if you look up here, if we take a look at the Now Cup Rush Duel 8, there was this. This, if we just zoom in a little bit, Warrior Pile. So what is this Warrior Pile deck? Now, some of you have probably already seen this if you're in, like, the right Discord servers, but Warrior Pile is a very interesting list. So this is the Warrior Pile deck. If we go ahead and make this a bit smaller. This is a really interesting anti-Jointech and anti-Music Princess list. That the strategy is basically use Yami Ruler to lock your opponent out of tribute summoning. Now, if you can't tribute summon as Jointech, what are you really doing? Right? The deck kind of works by getting tribute summons out easier. So if you can't do that, you can't really play the game. And the same is sort of true for Music Princess, although not to the same degree, right? Music Princess does have ways to make their fusions without having to tribute summon, right? They can use Ballet. So if you have everything you need in hand or everything you need in the graveyard, Ballet is still going to get you where you need to go. But now it is a much bigger ask because getting them into the graveyard, for example, is not as easy. You can still use the skill by revealing the card from hand, and then you can grab either the fusion spell or you can grab the Boton from your deck, which is pretty good. Hello, Dwan. Welcome on in, my friend. But it's not as easy to do your plays, right? So the logic of this deck is we can use the hero engine, which, you know, is quite a small hero engine, all things considered, to plow through the deck to try and get to our Floodgate. Then we'll Floodgate our opponent out of the game, ideally. If we can, just loop the Floodgate. If we can't, it's not the end of the world. And then we can summon the Yami Luna, who can give our Yami Ruler the extra 500 attack and piercing, and that is permanent. So it's not going to, like, OTK your opponent a lot of the time, but it is still pretty good at getting through what they're doing. On top of that, you can use the effect of Trombo again to, like, flip your cards up or flip your opponent's cards up. If you flip your opponent's, obviously you can get more damage in because you'll have a Yami Luna that doesn't have piercing, so obviously you want that to attack an attack position monster, whereas your Yami Ruler can attack a defense position monster, that's fine. But Trombo can let you, like, have access to ways to play through that, which is pretty cool. And then there is also the one of Straight Pierce, which is an interesting inclusion, because obviously you can use this on, like, a Yami Luna, but we don't have a way to search this. Not like Music Princess, which a lot of the time is going to mill it and then be able to get it back from the graveyard, which is, like, sort of searching, right? So that being said, again, we are playing 3 Elemental Cirque and Pot of Greed, so we might just be able to dig through it. And we are also playing the one of Miracle Fusion, which can be enough to either get us that little bit of extra burn damage to end the game with Flame Wingman, or it can be used to summon out the... Christ, what's even the name? Burst Wingman. Obviously, we have the Vaulting in here, but we're not playing Sparkman, so that's not really relevant. We are in a 2-deck format, but we are going to get a Rush box this month. Probably will change. Hello, Luis Fernando. Hello, hello. I mean, I think everyone kind of knows we're in a 2-deck format, right? If we go back down to here again, we can show this off once again. We have Jointech and we have Music Princess, which are the 2 most dominant decks right now. Nothing else really comes close. Obviously, the next highest is going to be Matarian. And again, we shouldn't undersell Sevens Road. It did win in a tournament. And winning a tournament in Jointech Princess meta is pretty good, right? We should, like, give it a pat on the back for that. But then we got Light Galaxy, which actually has done okay. Baseball, which again has done okay. Overlord, which got there because we floodgated. And then Warrior Pile also did make it. Now again, Warrior Pile did make it. Again, little pinch of salt. This was only a 16-player tournament. So there's going to be less, I guess, prestige than if it was like a 32-player tournament, for example. Because you have to play one less round, which means you have to win one less best of 3. So, you know, take that for what it is. And doesn't he play the skill that searches straight pierce? He does, I think. The issue is I can't read this. I think you are right, though. I think he was playing... I think it's called Music Princess... something, something. Let's have a look. Destiny Draw Music Princess. I think this is what he is playing. Can be activated from turn 2 onward before your normal draw, twice per duel if going first, thrice if going second. Place a Music Princess, Battle Ballet, or Straight Pierce from your deck or graveyard on top of your deck. Oh, okay, so the whole point of this is just to have Straight Pierce all the time. Oh, so you probably can even OTK your opponent then, because theoretically, if you get out the 2-card combo, you have a 3,000 Piercer and then a 4,500 Piercer, so that's 7,500 piercing damage across 2 attacks, whilst also floodgating your opponent. I want cards. Hope we can get some leaks after KC. I mean, fingers crossed we do, right? I think it would make sense for us to get a new product. I don't know if we're going to get it, like, end of this month or beginning of next. Regardless, it's kind of the same period, so it doesn't really matter. But we should be getting something, right? But I think this is a really cool deck. And I think this is especially cool because it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I think a lot of people had worked out Yami Ruler's pretty cool. And then we did see some people starting to experiment with the Celestial Guidance skill and going in, like, Yami Ruler into Yami Tarasu. But I don't think anyone really did this specifically. So this is a cool, like, special brew that someone came up with, which I think is really cool. Have Goha Rush next month. Well, yeah, but when does Goha Rush start? Do we have, like, an actual start date for Goha Rush? I don't know if we do or not. I mean, we might. Let's have a quick look through. Actually, if anywhere, I think it'd be easier to find it in leaks and updates. Well, we don't need the leaks. I want the updates. Maybe it's not as easy to find as I thought it was going to be. I can't remember if we have, like, a specific date for it or not, was the thing. Well, the gems report is going to help me. I'm sure there was an update somewhere. Maybe I'm just blind. There we go. November upcoming updates. No, this isn't helpful because it's going to be December. I'll probably have to look at it in-game. 4th to 15th. There we go. Okay, so it is the 4th then. I mean, they could just drop a box, like, right before that, though, right? They could just drop it on, like, the 1st or the 2nd or something, right? If they wanted to. Again, I will always say, I don't keep track of this as much as other people do, right? There are some people that are like, if we're going to get box, it is almost guaranteed this date of this month based on, you know, dates they've been released in the past, based on, like, core update changes and stuff. I am very, like, I'm around that. I like to absorb that information. I'm not, like, strictly keeping track of it, so yeah, I'll probably try this deck. Yeah, I think it was Bismuth was testing this out, and he was saying that it wasn't very good in a lot of matchups, but, like, specifically, I think against the 2 decks it's meant to beat, it's actually quite good. A Santa Mill support for Christmas? What does that even mean, though? We have all the Santa Mill cards, like, in terms of, like, the cleaning archetype. I believe we have all of them now. I don't think there's any that we don't have. The question is if will be just a mini box. I mean, you say just a mini box, but, like, if we take a look at what we've had recently... Oh, go back up here. I mean, we haven't had a mini box in, like, 3 months at this point, right? Or I guess, like, 2 months, really. But by the time it comes out, it'll be 3 months. So it's like, I'll take a mini box. I'll take just a mini box, right? Yeah, like, again, I don't even think these deck builds are, like... What's the best way to phrase this? I don't mind... I do mind, is the thing. I want to find, like, the correct way to phrase this. I am not as bent out of shape if the mini box or deck build box specifically, if the deck build box we get is impactful to the meta, so either it's just a shake-up box or it's a, you know, complete overhauls the meta, makes the meta better. If it does one of those two things, I'm quite happy. The time I don't like it is when we get boxes like... Christ, where was it? There was a deck build box that did, like, nothing, right? Was it Infinite Grand Crush? One of these boxes, I remember, came out, and we went... Neat. This changed up. No, it wasn't even that, was it? It was it High Dragon or Solid Strikes? I think it was High Dragon or Solid Strikes was the more common one, or the more recent one. This was the one with, I think it was Handy Lady, the new Maximum, and the draggiest stuff, and it was just like, great. It came out, it did nothing. Why did we even bother having this as a product, right? Is that PTRG I see? Oh, is Brad as HD is in the chat? So hello, Brad. Welcome. Yeah, December 4th. It's one of those ones where I am looking forward to the GRF. I am genuinely looking forward to it. Not just because we're expected to get new product with it, right? But because the GRF is quite fun to play. The downside is I can never go as hard in them as other people can. Like, I just don't have, like, 3 days spare to, like, grind in it. And I don't think a lot of people take it as seriously because there's nothing attached to it, right? At the end of the day, all you're really playing a GRF for is, like, the gold icon. That's, like, the prestige, right? Or just, like, bragging rights of I did it. And then, like, the other little bits on top. But, you know, you're going to get the little bits on top anyway. I'm talking about the people that are pushing for, like, top 10, top 100, right? Whereas, when we have the WCQ, people are playing for world slots. So, suddenly you get, like... You know, we get 20 people in a Discord call, everyone's grinding together, everyone's, like, sharing their ups, sharing their downs, everyone's, like, really invested into it. I think in a GRF, you don't quite get that as much, and I think that is a little bit disappointing. Just because, again, why isn't it that a GRF can get you an invitation to Worlds? Now, I kind of get it, right? Because how would you do it? Right? It would have to be like each country gets just one slot and then 8 are just given to the winners of GRF or whatever, right? Which is a little bit awkward. Probably the rush box arrives in the last week of month. That would make sense. But hello, PTRG. Welcome. What's this deck? So the deck we were looking at, this is Warrior Pile, which is a interesting little deck that did get a top 4 result recently. It's designed to basically beat the top 2 decks at the moment. Dragius, the Dragon one, Metagears Fusion, hello as well. Just a mini without character will be so boring. Yeah, but again, you realise we've had 2 deck build boxes over the last 2 months, right? Like, almost 3, because it will be 3 months when we get this new product, right? So over the course of 3 months, we've had effectively 12 new cards, and then a couple new, like, sprinkled here and there, like 7 chants and stuff like that, right? So, at that point, I'll take anything, right? Anything more than a 6-card box, effectively. I'll just take a mini. I won't complain. I'm not going to complain about it. Just 3 rush characters for this year. Again, so that's a metric that people keep bringing up. I don't actually think only having 3 rush characters is the end of the world, personally. But again, go rush characters. Because, I mean, I've been quite vocal about this. A lot of the 7's characters are just going to kind of be crap by comparison to Go Rush characters. Now, there are some characters that we could get, right? They could have just, like, given us Bocce. They could have given us, like, Mania. They could have given us some of these, like, realistically garbage tier characters whose decks are never going to be meta without, like, a super broken skill. They could have just thrown those at us. They absolutely could have done. But then they still would have had to, like, push back the 7 stuff. And the 7 stuff has got to come out eventually, but we can't release it after, like, too many of the new characters. Because think about it like this. A lot of the 7's characters, without getting modern support, or without adapting their decks with, like, other characters' stuff, or, like, other out-of-their-archetype cards, are garbage, right? Yuka, realistically, if we didn't have the hero engine to throw in, and the Volcanic Dragons, and the Secret Orders, that deck just wouldn't be very strong. Like, it can do fine. But, like, it's not going to consistently perform, like, as just that, right? Eternal Galaxy Road was a non-character mini and was really good. Yes, I mean, Eternal Galaxy Road, though, is, like, it's such a strange box, right? Because this came out right before, well, I say right before, this came out in May, which was leading up to the WCQ, right? This box came out, like, I don't want to say reinvigorated, but like changed absolutely everything. Because on the same day, we also got Seven's Road Phantasm, right? This day, the 9th of the 5th, this changed everything, right? This suddenly made it so every deck that was good before that is now garbage tier. And now the decks you have to be playing are Light Galaxy, Spellcasters, and Dark Galaxy. If you're not playing one of those, you're doing it wrong. So they could do this whenever they want. The question is, are they going to? Right? Do we think they're going to do this again? They're just going to drop like a structure deck or even just a mini box. Put some really broken shit in it. Like they could. They absolutely could. The best I've got is top 500 and top 1000 for Rush. I mean, that's still an accomplishment. You should still be happy with that. But we still have to wait and see what deck going ado. We are indeed going to have to see what deck is going ado. I don't know what that was meant to be, but... the only deck build I didn't invest in was the Worm/Cyburst one. So I actually skipped High Dragon and Solid Strikes. I was at the point where after going into the Selection Box 03, it kind of rinsed my gems. So I was like, I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna just hold off. And now, like, if I have leftover gems, I'll go back into this, but I'm not like going all in on it. But it was the World Championship classification box. There were no characters at that month, like they do in the last year with Innovator Box. Yeah, the Innovator Box was also crazy, right? Which one was that? What was that one even called? Was it Heavy Strike Excavator? No, Steel Collider Mirror. So again, it was another May box, right? Now, we are in the ads, so we'll just wait for the ads to go away. While we wait for the ads to go away, we'll have a little drink. Welcome back from the ads. Anyone that did get ads. So yeah, I mean, May always seems to be just a really good month, right? I suppose it's because it's always leading into WCQ. Because we got Collider Mirror Selection Box 01, and we got the structure deck, the Blue Eye Structure, which again was quite positive for the game. And then after that, we got maybe the most impactful like drop that we'd ever gotten, being the Seven's Road deck, which is still fantastic to this day, and the Galaxy box, which is kind of nuts, like they do in the last year with Innovator Box. Monarch Structure for Rush. The thing is, right, I see a lot of people say they want more Monarchs in Rush. I personally don't get it. I will never understand. I don't think Monarchs are super engaging. I don't think they're really cool. I don't think they're really fun. Like, I'm not gonna, like, sit here and be like, oh, you shouldn't like that deck. But I just don't understand why there are some people that, like, they really, really like Monarchs, right? Like, it's not an anime deck. It's not even, like a TCG import deck. And it's not one of the, like, really fun, unique Rush decks. It's kind of in its own little bubble. I've never vibed with it. I've just never vibed with it. What are they going to do in this month for Rush? I mean, we don't know. We literally don't know, right? If we go to last year, right? Where would it have been? Requiem of Collapse came out. So this would have come out right around Zuijo release, I assume. And it was a mini box. That's the thing, actually. We actually didn't get any box in December last year. Did we get any box in December the year before? Well, mind you, the year before was a really weird year, wasn't it? Yeah, we got the Rider Cross Structure. This was our Christmas present from Konami. Was a structure deck that was absolutely garbage tier. Had almost nothing in it worth going in it for. Had one meta-relevant card, which was Light Sorcerer of Sanctity. And you didn't get a free copy of it, and you couldn't buy it for gems. You had to buy it all with money. That's if I remember correctly. Maybe you could buy one copy with gems, but I remember if you wanted to get a playset of this, you for sure needed to spend. Which is, not the best Christmas present you could have given us, Konami, if we're being completely honest. Yeah, best to hold off until they play some speed to get the gems from there. I've already got like 2k plus after having none. I mean, that's always good. That's always a good thing to have. Main deck, strong deck, maybe. Main deck, strong deck, maybe. I don't know what you mean by that, Louise. Do you mean like a structure deck? Or do you mean they're going to release enough cards that are just going to be really good? Or you like them there being a deck that doesn't use an extra deck? Monarch and the TCG were kind of jarring, especially Domain. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Yeah, Zuijo into Requiem into GRF. A year before was Ride Across. Let's go the Dark Period. 3 months between boxes. What a time. Yeah, I mean, let's hope we never reach the 99-day mark again. But we'll probably reach the 57-day mark, right? This wouldn't surprise me. Actually, we probably won't hit 57. We'll probably hit more like 51 or 52, right? Because after we get this box, which again, assuming it comes out towards the end of this month, right? Let's say it comes out on the 28th. Now, the 28th is somewhat arbitrary, but it's just because we got a box on the 28th last year. Where was it? Yeah, here. Requiem of Collapse came out on the 28th. Let's assume we got it on the 28th. Then, I don't know, saying that, we did get Red Boot Boost in January, but we didn't get anything in December again. But it was like, what, nearly 3 weeks in? That was like 2.5 weeks. So it did work out to 51 days. We're probably going to have a bit of a drought. That would make sense to just have nothing in December. Which is not ideal. Which is really not ideal. I spend money either ways. We got nothing for Rush in the Christmas in the last year. Christmas in the last year. We got... yep. It was here. So, we got a very early Christmas present in Requiem of Collapse, or we got a very late Christmas present in Red Boot Boost, or Boost Red Boot. Either way, not great. They never made a paywall structure after the Silent Magician structure. Yes. I mean, I think the Silent Magician structure might have been around the time when I quit, but we should give a shout out to Shui. There you go, Shui. Welcome on in, my friend. Because I don't really keep track of it. I remember the structure deck EXs were like bullshit when they first came out. And that like made me not want to... Maybe not want to play anymore. What about BES? But BES you can buy once, right? You don't get a free copy. But I think we're kind of getting to the point where I'm now like... I'm irrationally upset when a structure deck comes out and I'm not given a free copy. Now, I don't necessarily deserve that free copy, right? I shouldn't expect that free copy. But because they sometimes give me free copies of structure decks, I'm now like... Where's my free copy, Konami? Why are you being stingy, right? Promanicus dropping the penis in the chat. As always, very tactful. We got Darth Victor in the chat. Hello, Darth Victor. It's my favorite tomato. I like to think I'm your favorite tomato, but if you're cheating with other tomatoes, that is fine as well. I notice people really like main deck types in Rush. I think it's cool to have a deck that can play on a different axis, right? Like, if you're in a meta where everyone's making fusion monsters and you're not making fusion monsters, I think that's kind of cool. I think a big part of that is why people really lean towards Join Tech in the current meta, because it's a deck that just doesn't go into the extra, right? But you could also say the same for, like, Baseball and Miss Mutton, but they're a bit weird, right? How's my favorite tomorrow? I mean, I'm doing pretty good. I mean, we're doing a bit more yapping than I was expecting to do, but we always do. We always do, so it's fine. Oh, yeah, that was it. Yeah, it would be cool to, like, get a new box. But again, I'm not expecting anything crazy. Like, if we got a new character... I mean, we couldn't get a new character, right? There is no way we could get a new character. Because the events would overlap with something. So we physically can't get a new character? I think. The thing is, again, I'm not the person to ask. Like Brad would be the guy to ask, really. He did a video talking about some of this stuff as well already, so everyone should go and check that out as well, by the way. Really, really good video. But I'm pretty sure we can't get a character unless they, like, really, really break the mold. We can slot one in after GRF. Okay, so we could get one after... So that would be a mid-December character. Do we usually get characters in December? I mean, we might do. I don't know if we get Rush characters in December. The thing is, I should write the Rush character releases on here as well, really. The only thing is, if we got a character after GRF, it would be really weird. Actually, would it be that weird? So, right, what I'm thinking is, would it be strange to release cards and then give us the character after we've already got the cards? That's a bit weird, right? But they have done that a couple times already, right? When we got Galactica Go Rush and Fusion Revolution, we got a bunch of the Metarian stuff before UO came out. So I think UO only became available like 2 or 3 days after this. But I think the event started around the same time. Before Sevens we did. 2 weeks after, yeah, Mimi/UO was like 4 days. Yeah, so I mean, there we go then. Obviously, it's not quite the same, because if we assume, again, if we assume 28th, right? If we assume the 28th is when it comes out. Again, it's very arbitrary. It's a Friday. Sometimes product comes out on Friday. I think recently it's actually been like days I don't stream. So I think Friday has been quite a popular day to release stuff. But then that would be a week before GRF. Then we'd have to have a week for GRF. And then, mind you, if GRF starts on the 4th, when does it finish? People posted in chat, didn't they? Also, massive voice break from me just there. To the 15th. So it's the 4th and to the 15th. So if it came out after the 15th, that would be like 2 to 3 weeks after it had come out. That'd be kind of nuts. No, we don't. We've only had before Sevens, and that one was removed because of GRF. No, it wouldn't be weird. Metarian was before UO, which was 5 days before 3 days before event. And we should get Zero Gears, make dragons great again. The issue I have with Zero Gears is I don't, unless they get a very specifically tailored skill, I don't see Zero Gears as being meta defining, right? And the issue we have right now is that we're in a 2-deck format. So, I mean, I said this a bunch of times before. I don't hate Joint Tech. I don't hate Music Princess. I do hate this pie chart. I think this pie chart is kind of ugly, and I don't like it. So I would like, personally, to see a shake-up that is enough to stop this, right? I mean, where's a lovely pie chart we had before? I want this. This is a much better looking pie chart. I want to see this again. So, to me, it doesn't so much matter what they put in the box, as long as they make it so that we're not in this anymore. I really don't like 2-deck formats. Oh yeah, Mimi was 15th, I think. Yeah, I want that too. I mean, that's my ideal. That's my ideal. Again, that's a little bit selfish because that's just what I want. But you know, what I want is more important than everyone else, right? That is generally how that works. But I am interested to see what does come out. Because, like, again, it's really hard to know what they're going to release. Because, like, again, this time last year, they released the Zuijo box, right? So we had a lot of the Dark Galaxy stuff. That's fine and dandy, but we had a character, like, attached to it. So we were like, okay, we're getting this character, we're getting his cards. Bam, easy peasy, right? What they could do is do something like give us updates to existing cards. As in, like, existing decks. Like, they could give us, like, another wave of, like, Light Galaxy support. Or they could give us another wave of Joint Tech support. Or, they, you know, something along those lines. I think that could work. Yeah, that time period makes no sense. So they'd have to be a product alongside. The character after GRF, with which a structure deck would make more sense than a deck build. Or we go back to Super Minis Cope. I mean, I would love Super Minis to come back again. But I think it's one of those things where Super Minis aren't, like... Super Minis aren't ideal, right? They're just better than deck builds. So, like, I don't even, like, want Super Minis back super bad. It's just, if you were to give me a deck build or a Super Mini, I'll take the Super Mini. If we could replace both with a regular Mini, that'd be my ideal. But I do understand, like, reprints. If you're a new player and you're trying to get into the game and people are like, okay, you got to go and open this box, this box, this box, this box. You've got to get URs from all of them. Players are going to be like, no, I'm not doing that, right? So I do get that you need reprints somewhere. I mean, the other option is character after December immediately. When you say after December, I assume you just mean, like, early January? Or are we talking about, like, after December GRF? Give us a dragon skill that gives us a dragon fire each turn, plus tribute summon a dragon with 1 less tribute. Why do you want specifically a fire dragon, is my next question, PTRG. Are you just trying to make, like, baseball a thing again? Oh, I suppose it still is a thing, but that would make sense. Or whatever the dragon card is that destroys a spell or trap. Oh, Dragon's Inferno. We do already have that attached to a skill. Super Minis were not that good, but nice to have. I mean, yeah, they're... If you're a player that is already up to date with everything, you have all the rush cards, it is objectively better than a deck build, right? Yo, guys, prediction fire versus water next box. Ooh. What would you want to be in that, though, right? So, like, fish, I assume, is the water side of your water versus fire. But, like, what's the fire? Do you think we're going to get, like, noodles? Because I don't think noodles are enough to carry a whole box on their own. Like, for the entire fire part. Chemicalize. You think we're going to get Chemicalize? The issue with Chemicalize... we could. We absolutely could. I don't think we'd get the max, but we could totally get the fusion stuff. The thing is, it's really weird to say, right? Because part of me is like, well, no, we won't get the fusion stuff. That's crazy. There'll be like a big event. But then you have to think that Eternal Galaxy Road came out and just completely shattered all expectations. This raised the power level of the meta, and now anything that can get up to that, either in like anime release schedule or in like power level, could just come out. So absolutely, we could just get new Chemicalized stuff. We could get the fusion for Calicomai Salamandra for sure. I don't know about a lot of the rest of it. I mean, Chromatographicus fusions could be cool. The issue is what you fuse them with. I think that would be the restricting factor. Have I spelt something wrong? Is it Chromatographicus? It is. So this one needs super assist. Just coughing my guts out. Alright. So, Super Assistant Archie. Is Super Assistant Archie the one we have? Super ass. So, we have Ember the Hyper. So, this is Super. Okay, so it's just the vanillas. This one needs Super Assistant Berry. This one needs Higher. So we don't have Berry or Higher yet. The other annoying thing is that everything's name has changed, right? So Higher is now... I don't know, it's one of these two. It's either Icelin or Sparkle. But I lose track. I lose track of them. But yeah, we'd have to get some of this stuff out. I mean, we could. Like, realistically, these aren't like maximum locked or anything. There's no reason you'd have to play them specifically with that. We could definitely get Alchemicalize. Definitely get Alchemicalize. Because this is basically just full orchestra. This is just full orchestra. So we could totally get this right. Don't die on us tomorrow. I promise nothing. I mean, we had, ages ago, a slot in December, which was roaming a few times. So we put the Vrains event on the 15th, and then we get a character after that. Character after an event on the 15th. So we'd have to wait until after GRF, and then after another event is what you're saying. Sea Serpents. What Sea Serpents? They're not going to release phases stuff, are they? Let me use my 3 prismatics. Haven't got Otis yet. Give us some red eyes. I don't think we're likely to get red eyes. The issue with red eyes is a lot of the red eye support is just really, really good. So you'd have to, like, very much tailor it to only give us the bad red eye stuff. But I could totally see these coming out. Like, none of these are even, like, crazy strong, right? Oh, we're probably not getting this one. Because this one is maximum support, kind of. Got 3 cards to do that. Your opponent returns as many face-up cards from their field to the owner's hand as possible, up to the number of different attributes sent to the grave by this effect. This is kind of busted. It's kind of busted. I think we could get Archer. I thought one of these had piercing. Did none of these actually have piercing? Because that's the big issue you have with this deck, is it still just can't deal with face down cards. Even if we got all of these, it still doesn't deal with face down cards. Hey, Zelda music? Yeah, this is the Song of Storms. So basically, 27th, I think, where I googled when they were but forgot. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like, what I want to come out. My main issue with the Pyro stuff is none of the stuff I predict they would get would solve any of their issues. What we need is Orb. I can't remember what Orb's full name is. This thing. We need Alchemicalize Orb. This is what I want. So this is a fire attribute pyro type monster +1 aqua or thunder types. Then top card deck to the graveyard. Choose one face-up monster on your field. It inflicts piercing battle damage. This then you can place one spell trap from your opponent's field on top of the owner's deck. So this, I don't know, is this too good? Is this fine? Like, this isn't like crazy piercing. This isn't gonna like allow you to just murder your opponent in a single turn. So maybe it'd be okay. But I suppose you have to pair it with like, if your opponent's able to like flip something up as well, you could do like a lot of damage with this. Phoenix Max solves the issue. You're not wrong, but I still just don't see the Phoenix Max coming out this early. I don't see it coming out before like phases coming out, right? Mana Boom Maximum is hype. It is hype. I really like it. I'm looking forward to it coming out. I just don't see it coming out this early is all. Only 2200 attack? Well, the whole point is it's not your finisher, right? You summon that, and then you have a boss monster next to it. Like, that's the logic. He's just like a support fusion. Screw Phaser if I get Chemicalized Max. I mean, alright, I get what you're saying, right? Chemicalized Max is really cool, but I still just don't see it coming out before we get the Phaser stuff. Maybe we could. I just personally don't see it. Is that Rarity Fangirl in the chat? Hello, hello. We'll do an exclamation mark. Rarity. Always got to give the shout outs. I watched Rarity last night play Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days playing the Prison deck, which is really cool. It's a deck that I've really, really liked as well. It was the first set order deck that I played. I played the original starter deck when it came out. I really, really liked it. It was my second favorite, probably after Bruce. I gotta go tomorrow. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by, Victor. Then it's quite fair, to be honest. To be honest, I think they will release at the same time. I mean, they could. They absolutely could. But I think it will still be with or after the first big maximum, right? Because to me, it's already a bit weird that we've had two other maximums released that are effectively from the Go Rush era that aren't phases. I think that is very weird. But the other thing they could do is do basically what they did in the physical game, which is release Oki Abyss and maybe just like Kraken. Like maybe they do that and they don't give us Poseidra yet, and then they give us Poseidra later. I don't know. The other thing is, would you guys like a double event unlock where we get Phaser and Tremolo at the same time? Would you like Tremolo to come later? So we'll get like a Phaser event, then you get a Tremolo event. The alternative, which I don't think would work very well, is you have them as a joint character, like a Loomis and Umbra situation. But I think that would be a bit weird. The thing is, I think you could just give Tremolo's stuff to Phaser and just call it a day. But that would be like the really boring way to do it. Prison is goated? Yeah, I really like Prison. Tomato, did you see the alternate universe Cardfight Vanguard stuff? I don't know what that is, so no. The new Cardfight Vanguard stuff is insane. They're cooking. Ryugu Bros double unlock would be amazing. Well, I think that's the thing. Part of me is like, double unlock events are bad for Konami in the sense that that is easily like a character release is something you can just drop and everyone will be excited, and you have a certain number you want to release a year, right? So doing a double basically takes away one of your character releases from the future. That also takes away some of the hype that you could drum up if there's like a bit of a boring month coming up or something. So doing a double event from that perspective is quite bad. From a consumer point of view, from a player point of view, it's great, right? It's really exciting because it's like, oh, twice as much stuff. The new like box that we're going to get presumably is going to have support for both of these decks. You're going to get a whole bunch of new gems available to you all at once because like having 2 characters back to back is just really, really good for you. But because of that, because it almost seems like it's negative for Konami, that's why I just don't see them doing it very often. Because the other one we'd like to see is the Yuna and Rovian double unlock. Because in a lot of ways, that kind of makes sense. Like, the issue that Rovian is going to have is I don't think her cards are interesting enough or potentially strong enough to release on her own and be like, oh, look, guys, it's a meta deck. I feel like it will come out and be like, oh, this is okay. This is going to be like a tier 3. That's kind of what I would expect from it. Whereas if we get all of Yuna's stuff, it's going to be absolutely crazy. So I think it was a human that suggested it. It might have been someone else. But someone said, like, just don't give us Luxury Magicians, which is their, like, key end board monster. Because then the deck still has a objective. You still have a boss monster you can go into. The deck still can spin its plates. You can still combo off a bit. But you don't have this ridiculous ceiling that the deck has with Luxury Magicians. Brantgate Zorga goes crazy. Maybe Masanori won't be a jobber. Wait, what do we mean Brantgate Zorga? Oh, is that like, So are you saying there's a new set that's coming out, which is reimagining a lot of the units if they were from different, what do we call them? Nations? Yuna's English voice actor was asking about Yuna's cards on Twitter, so that tells me they haven't recorded it yet. Yeah, that's not too surprising. Yes. Okay, I mean, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize this was a actual card set that was coming out. I mean, that is pretty exciting. I've never been a big Zorga fan. I like Masanori. I quite like Masanori as a character. Zorga, though, I've